everybody, and thank you for joining us on another edition of Chat and Games, your weekly gaming show. I am your host for the evening, afternoon, morning, night. It seems to be night all the time here in Canada, Melvin Rodriguez, and I am joined by the sexy boys in the business, Mr. Matthew Howitt.
That's me.
That's you, Matt. And today we got a very exciting episode like we do every single week. Today, given the fact that we are 1 day away from the next generation of consoles, at least for the Xbox and Sony, who the heck knows what Nintendo is doing? You know, they got the Switch, they are doing their own timeline. The Switch is doing just great. They are just cruising. Now, on the other front, we got the Xbox Series X launching tomorrow, November 10th, and the PlayStation 5 launching on Thursday. So, with that, all the coverage that people are there, make sure to check out all the gaming news. There has been a lot of basic reviews for all the launch games, all the consoles, all the different little details that you need to know. Even if you just want to see how saves kind of transfer between two, because this is the generation that kind of blurs the line between generations, given that you don't have those pay me extra for the game on this console. It's all backwards compatible. You're all fine. Unless you're doing the Spider-Man stuff, but you know that it's a mess on its own. Given all that is happening, Matt, we're gonna talk about our own personal favorite console launches.
Because we aren't getting these consoles at launch, so.
Oh, not at all.
This is all we got.
Situation with all this going on, given that now it's only a matter of pre-orders. And that seems to be how things are going in the last little while. We will see, because I did see one piece of news earlier on that actually there's going to be a few Xbox Series X or S in stores that are for people that didn't actually get to pre-order them. I wouldn't recommend going to a store right now to get a console. You know what I mean? Take your time. You know, there's a big pandemic going on out there. Better to stay safe. But that's just my own take. But that doesn't stop us from reminiscing and thinking back at all the other console launches, the ones that we actually participated in, and what got us excited about it. So, Matt, you want to start us off with your first memory?
Okay. So, my memory apparently isn't very good, because the earliest I was able to, really solidly remember was the DS. Anything before that is kind of just a blur.
Okay.
So the DS is my earliest memory of getting a console at launch, or at least close enough to launch that it felt like launch. I think back then I still wasn't really paying attention to specifically when stuff was coming out or whatever. But yeah, got my DS, and the one game I had was Mario 64 DS.
Oh yeah.
Which was quite, kind of looking at it now, pretty interesting as far as Nintendo remakes go, considering how little they have changed in a lot of their more recent remakes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was actually a pretty substantial change, playing as, Yoshi and Luigi and Wario and all that. But what I also remember, probably about as much as the game itself, was they added a bunch of mini-games in this game.
I remember that, yes.
Mm-hmm. And that was there was 2 multiplayer components. There was one where it was the actual game, and you would just kind of run around with other players and try and get stars, and it was kind of lame and boring. But the mini games, those were multiplayer, and I remember spending plenty of time in Luigi's Casino playing those with my brother, who also got a DS. And I remember thinking it was just amazing, the fact that you could play games without a cord. I never had the cord to connect the Game Boys or the Game Boy Advances, so me and my brother could never actually play our games together. And the DS being able to do that wirelessly was amazing to me. I also remember just playing PictoChat for way longer than anybody should. Yeah, just because it was so novel to be able to connect to another person and send them stuff so easily. So yeah, I have pretty fond memories of the DS launch, even if the stuff I was actually doing was pretty unexciting by modern standards. Everything's kind of amazing when you're younger.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing is, when this console launched, I don't remember the exact launched games. We went over them in a previous podcast, so if you want to check them out, it will be linked in the description below. But otherwise, I do remember the only 3 games that I had, and I wouldn't even call them, 2 of them, I wouldn't even call them fully fledged games because they weren't. Picture Chat
Yeah.
and just drawing in there. It was before smartphones. It was before anything out there. Like, I think that was the first touch screens that I ever got. I as a kid, I didn't even get those. You know those little toy thingies that look as square and they have 2 wheels and you kind of draw on them.
Oh, the Etch a
You
Sketch
spin
thing.
the Etch a Sketch
Yeah.
thing is. I was always jealous of anybody in my school getting them, and I never got a single one of them. So the fact that I got this 3DS and I was able to actually draw on a digital board
Yeah.
was fascinating to me. So yes, I also spent countless hours on Picture Chat when I shouldn't have, because I was literally not doing anything. I wasn't even chatting with anybody.
I remember.
I was just drawing things.
Yeah.
That's it.
Me and my brother would like make stories where we would take turns drawing the next frame and stuff like that.
That would be a little bit more elaborate than what I did. I don't even know what I used to do. Just to pretend that I was chatting with Mario or something.
Nice.
But anyway, so that was one of them. I do remember that fondly, just because of how, looking back at it, it's like I did have a lot of time as a young buck. You know what I mean? Nowadays, I don't think I can get away with telling him his funny games. You know what? I'm gonna take a few. I don't know. Like, I'm just gonna stay here for 5 hours and draw on a screen that nobody's gonna look at.
Yeah, like
But yeah, so there was the
relative
Yeah,
to
go
the
ahead.
relative to the Game Boy Advance, there was just a lot new to the DS. Like you mentioned, touch screens were something that were new to gaming. The dual screens as well, the wireless connecting. It just felt like this can do so much that the last one I had can't do, as well as just like 3D games. Because Mario 64 DS is obviously a 3D game, and that wasn't really possible on Game Boy Advance. You could get like top-down sort of looking 3D, but not with like a proper camera really, or anything like
Not
that.
really.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, this wouldn't be the first one to do it, like, by any stretch. I think some Game Boy Advance games did try it, but yeah, it's mostly about the effect of 3D rather than actually seeing the 3D models in there.
yeah,
Okay, but so we got the Picture Chat, and then we got this game, Super Mario 64 DS. Is that the actual title of
yep.
it? I'm playing that and just reliving my memories of Super Mario 64 was awesome to begin with. Playing that as Yoshi did add a little bit more a little extra to it. I don't remember playing as much as Wario. I don't know why. I just remember Yoshi and Mario for the
Well,
most
Yoshi you got from the start. Luigi and
Mm-hmm.
Wario you had to unlock, and technically you could beat the game without getting either of them. So
part. I'm trying to remember if I actually even did get them. I don't know. But in any case, it was awesome to have that little addition and me having to actually go back. And this is the only one that I actually got all the stars. Like, I play on 64. I did beat it, but I never got every single star. On this
Okay.
one, I got the ones, and it came out with a few extra ones too. So I did get those as well.
yeah,
But playing the mini game, oh, that was awesome. My brother was always so jealous of me getting the DS, that so much that they actually got him and another one as well, just so we can play these stupid mini games on Super Mario
yeah.
64 DS.
Luigi teaches gambling.
I did. Oh yeah, that's what that. This is where the source came in. This is where it all started, the gambling, and this is before loot boxes. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But yeah, I spent a lot of time in there. It was a lot of fun. And well, looking back at this, I remember this looking a lot better than it looks on this trailer for sure. But to be fair, by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, this trailer is not the actual 64 on the DS.
Yeah,
This is a Wii U Virtual Console one.
the Wii U re-release, because it was a lot better than the the actual trailer.
Yeah, I mean, and the trailers are hard to find nowadays
Yeah.
also for this kind of these kind of games, which is kind of fascinating. The pre-YouTube era,
Yeah.
which is kind of wild to think about. So yeah, and then there was another one, a demo of a game that didn't really caught my attention that much. Metroid Prime Hunters. Is that what
Yeah. And
what it's called? Okay.
it was, so the demo was called like Metroid Prime Hunters First Hunt or something. And then the actual
Oh,
game was
okay.
just Metroid Prime Hunters. But yeah, going in line with just like trying to squeeze everything I possibly could out of this game, this console.
Yeah.
I remember me and my brother would like get into the multiplayer in this game and then just like roll around in balls together. We wouldn't even actually fight. We both liked being in the morph ball mode more than like running around and
Yeah.
shooting. So we would just do
I
that.
like the racing parts of it. Like when you just go through the little tunnels.
Yeah.
I enjoy that part of it. I always wanted to have the shooting though, like just having the multiplayer shooter aspect, especially because my friends also got the game, and it just didn't play, like the demo just didn't draw me as much, so I never actually got the game itself.
Yeah, I've heard that the actual Prime Hunters is sort of a mixed bag. Some people like it mostly for the multiplayer, as far as I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Yeah.
single player is not really in line with how Metroid usually works, but
Okay.
it's okay. I would
It's okay.
eventually get around to playing the actual Prime games, and damn, I love them. So I guess this was
Yeah.
actually my first exposure to Metroid, but I think, like you, it didn't end up capturing me until much later.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the DS version of it.
Hmm.
Our DS experiences. I'll talk about just a little bit of a heads up for everybody listening on or watching. A lot of our growing up, especially for Matt, I think he has only gotten Nintendo consoles at
At
launch.
launch, yeah.
At launch, yeah,
I
yeah,
got some Xboxes, but I never got them at launch.
exactly. And I only got another a non Nintendo console at launch very recently, and it's been the PlayStation 4. We'll talk about that later. But I just wanted to let you know in case it's like, oh, this is a Nintendo fanboyism here. It's like that's what we grew
I
up
mean,
with,
I mean,
okay?
you're right. For me, at least, I am a fanboy, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
that's all I have, unfortunately, to draw from here.
To share. I really wish that I was there during the 360
Yeah.
era because based on everything that we ranked, I really wish that I had the 360. The PlayStation 2, I'm glad that if I was gonna get it, it has to be a later in the generation because those launch titles, woof boy, nothing to write home about. In any case, I'm gonna talk about my other Nintendo console launch,
Okay.
and this is the GameCube.
Oh, okay. So you remember a bit
So
further
when the
back
game,
than I do.
a little bit. I don't remember that if I got this, what's it called? I don't think I got it at launch, like the launch day, but I did get it the launch holiday season. I got it as part of my Christmas present, or Santa gave it to me. If you believe it, if you think what's it called? That was actually the year that I found out about Santa.
Let's
By the
not
way,
touch on that. Maybe there are some young bucks listening.
the young bucks listening in, Santa is amazing. They gave me a GameCube, and he gave me what's it called? 3 games with it:
Ooh.
Wave Racer,
Yeah.
Harry Potter, and the second one is that the Chamber of Secrets.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And Smash Brothers Melee.
Wow.
I didn't need the other two, to be honest with you. The other two could just sit there, gather some dust, and because Smash Brothers Melee took over my life. I was a I think the game that I spent the most time on the 64 was Smash Brothers, just for the mere fact of playing with friends. Every single time that we went to somebody's house or we went to hang out, somebody's party, it was always Smash Brothers 64. And now with Melee here, everybody got excited. I think I was one of the privileged ones to actually get a GameCube close to launch. So everybody came by and to my place, and we just started playing Smash Brothers Melee all the way. So from there on, I decided I was gonna try to get all the characters before any of my friends did. And one of the characters, this was pre-internet era,
Yeah.
by the way. So to find out how to get the characters, there was a lot of trial and error. I couldn't get 3 particular ones. I didn't know how to get Pichu because I never got into the events.
Okay.
Even though they were kind of okay.
Yeah,
I never.
that was like
Yeah.
a thing for me as well. I think for Melee, where after owning it for years and playing it for hours and hours, I would go in and discover like, oh, what is event match? Like I had just never bothered to look at half the things in the game before.
Yeah, exactly. Event match was the only reason that I found out about it was because actually somebody told me that you need to do it like an event number. I think it was 37 to get Pichu.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's when okay, then never mind. I actually have to do this. I remember because you had to do there was one there that you had to beat a lot of people with Donkey Kong and all, or a lot of enemies as close as possible. And all I did was down B with Donkey Kong, and that was it. That's the only thing that I had to do to get through that event.
Nice.
In any case, so that was Pichu, but the most difficult one was freaking Mewtwo.
Yeah.
Like, how in the world was I supposed to know that first of all, either I am in that second 2-player mode and stay and leave the console out for like 24 hours to get this freaking Mewtwo, or play a ton of
matches.
What's it called? Matches to get him. It unlocked after a long time, but after playing, I got actually that many matches in.
Yeah.
And I remember it popping up, and I was so confused because at that point I had tried everything. Everything that I could think of, or like trying to get all the trophies, trying to get beat the sub. At that point, was it called Subspace Emissary?
It was just adventure mode.
Adventure mode, yeah. Trying to beat adventure mode without getting hit.
Oh jeez.
I was trying everything, and I couldn't get him. And at the end of it just popped out randomly. Oh, it's just.
I think
that was not necessarily at lunchtime, but that memory stuck with me forever. It's like, you are kidding me. And then I got a magazine, like about my Nintendo Power, or the equivalent in South America, and it showed like all the different things that you actually had to unlock.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, my mouth dropped, because back then the games didn't actually track how much time you actually play the game. And after seeing how many matches I actually played to get this character, I was like, oh wow, I spent a lot of time in video games.
Yeah, I think that's how I got most of the characters in Melee, was playing so many matches and then eventually getting them.
Yeah. Nowadays we're spoiled. Either we get them all at the beginning, or we do the ultimate way, which is just and ultimate they just kind of drop randomly, right?
Yeah, ultimate, it's like every few matches you'll get one. I got most of them through World of Light personally, because I actually enjoyed going through that, but a lot of people didn't. So.
Oh no, I got them through just sheer multiplayer. I don't think I ever touched World of Light. I seen it, and I did, and I think I played. Maybe if I did touch it, was one match. It just never interests me. Any case, yeah, that's my GameCube experience. Did you ever get the GameCube at launch?
I got it close to launch, and I remember. What did we have? Oh yeah, Monkey Ball was the thing. Me and my brother played a lot. But I don't think we got it at launch, because I know we got Pikmin as one of our first games as well. And Melee took a little longer, but it was still pretty early on. We got Melee and blew me away. So.
Yeah. Oh, Melee. What a great time. All right, Matt, I'll shoot it over to you.
All right.
What's your next one?
I was actually going to go with the next Nintendo console, which was the Wii, because I remember that one pretty well.
Okay.
The Wii was a bit of an oddity and kind of stuck out as far as new consoles go, just because it had its whole new gimmick. And, of course, it came with Wii Sports, so spent a lot of time playing that. And for the first time, like, even my mom was playing games with us. So I remember it for that reason. I remember having a sore arm the day after it came out. Just from going overboard.
Well, you had it was exciting to get the motion controls, right? It was something unique.
Yeah.
that we haven't gotten before, and they were really, at least the marketing was really milking it, like that, literally just showing all the things that you can do with the Wiimote.
And I know,
and such a weird looking controller.
yeah,
Sorry to
having like a
cut you off there,
remote,
but
yeah.
yeah, I remember people just laughing like crazy, especially other like people that like the other consoles. It's like, what are you watching TV or playing a game? Like, oh, you watch out, But all right, anyway, continue.
But yeah, like I think early on, it got a lot more into like doing all the full motions and stuff for the sports.
Mm-hmm.
Like later on, of course, everyone learned, oh, you kind of just have to flick it. You don't actually have to go crazy like you're swinging a tennis racket or a baseball bat. So
Yeah. Once you found that out, it kind of took away from the experience, It's like when you found out that it wasn't actually that accurate. The only one that was kind of accurate, or you can play around with it, was bowling.
Right. I'm now
that one was the
realizing
one
I
that's
sent you the wrong trailer for a Wii U version.
Oh no,
of
no,
this.
yeah. Just so everybody knows, again, trailers are hard to find, but this one is not actually the one for Wii Sports. It's Wii Sports Club, the one on the Wii U, actually.
Yeah.
But it gives you the idea of what it looked like.
Yeah, and then what else? I also got Excite Truck, Zelda, and Rayman at launch. I think Zelda was a little bit after. Excite Truck, me and my brother played a lot of. That game was actually super fun. It was all about just getting crazy air on these trucks, or like, because it was weird. It was a racing game, but winning the race wasn't really the actual point. It was just like whoever, like you got a bonus for coming in first, but it was whoever got the most points would win. And the way you got points was by like doing big jumps to get like lots of air and stay in the air a long time. I remember one way to get points was going off-road and going through the trees, and the longer you lasted without crashing, the more points you would get. So me and my brother would do that a lot, but typically end up wiping out. I forget what all the other things you could do were, but yeah, it was pretty fun. Rayman was kind of a mess. It was kind of just a mini game collection, but I guess it showed off a lot of potential stuff that you could do with the motion controls. Zelda obviously hit it big later on. I think Twilight Princess was the first time I really got into a Zelda game. Prior to that, it was mostly Zelda was always the series that I just watched my dad play. But then Twilight Princess came around and he didn't get all that far into it. So then I gave it a go and ended up getting all the way to the end. Fantastic game. A lot of good memories of Twilight Princess. But
it's a long game, so.
Yeah. For the launch itself, I mostly just remember getting sore arms from Wii Sports as far as the Wii goes.
Nice. Okay. I'll share mine. I also have the Wii. Not very close to launch again. Holiday season. I got it Christmas, and when I got it, I only had 2 games. The Wii Sports obviously came with the Wii.
Yeah.
And I got Twilight Princess.
Okay.
So at the beginning, obviously I was way more excited about Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
than I was about Wii Sports. I'm like, okay, this little thing looks fun. Something to kind of play here and there, but the game itself that I'm actually excited to play is Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, the Wii comes with 2 controllers. It comes with a Wiimote and it comes with a nunchuck. Yeah. I didn't know what a nunchuck was. So one of the things during the Twilight Princess tutorial is you had to beat up these little like dummies, and using motion control. So it's like, okay, you swing your sword. You do this sort of things, so like dodge or stab, swing, all that sort of stuff. And then there came the point where you had to do the famous spinning attack that Link does. And for that, I couldn't for the life of me figure out how to do it. Obviously, they were showing it in text in English. At that time, I didn't know English, but I was already taking kind of English classes, so I kind of understood a little bit. And he said nunchuck. I didn't have access to the internet at the time, because I was visiting my grandparents, and he said nunchuck. I just didn't know what a nunchuck meant, so I literally swung the Wii U, not the Wii U, sorry, so the Wiimote all the way around,
like swung it.
Not the Wii. I close though. I thought it was. It came with the stand,
Oh
the
yeah.
gray stand. Oh my gosh! I even swung that. I even thought there were sensors in
The
there.
sensor bar.
That was dumb. Yeah.
Oh jeez.
That didn't work. It was only at one point out of frustration that I threw my controller into the couch, along with the nunchuck, and he did the thing. For at least for 5 or 6 tries, every single time that I had to showcase that move, I would throw both the controller and the nunchuck into the couch to do the move because I still didn't comprehend that you just had to swing the other controller.
Oh jeez.
That was, it's so dumb. After I found out, I hid in shame. Nobody saw me do
It
it.
is.
Now you're the only ones who
It is
know.
a weird name for a controller, calling it the nunchuck, but
Kind of makes sense
I
afterwards
ended up
after you think
really
about it.
coming around to the Wiimote nunchuck combo. Any game that uses only the Wiimote, I'm less thrilled about these days, like the ones that would make you turn it sideways and use it. But I actually quite like the Wiimote nunchuck
The
combo
combination.
for certain games, like Metroid Prime. I think that's the best way to play Prime is with a Wiimote
Oh,
nunchuck.
interesting. Okay.
It
What I was gonna say with what I was gonna ask Mario Kart.
yeah.
Is it? Did you prefer? Did you use with the wheel?
No, I used the Wiimote and nunchuck for Mario Kart.
Gotcha. All right. Then what? But in the meantime, while I was figuring the Twilight Princess conundrum,
Yeah.
my brother wanted to play. My parents actually wanted to try it out because they saw a commercial
Yeah.
where like there were a bunch of adults also like playing bowling and that sort of stuff. So we decided to play, and yeah, I remember having a lot of fun with them. Everybody liked golf and not golf. Sorry,
Bowling.
bowling
Bowling was the
more
big
than
one. Yeah.
more than anything. They did try the other ones just for a laugh, especially the boxing one.
Yeah.
And I remember somebody took a recording of my dad kind of doing the boxing match. Freaking hilarious. It's like if like I was watching somebody play VR
Oh.
nowadays, they just look ridiculous.
Did anyone ever throw the controller for you?
I was so like this again as a kid. Getting a console was like I'm never getting something like this again.
Mm-hmm.
So I made sure that everybody's strapped in,
Okay.
except for one person that I forgot that I wasn't on the lookout for, and they literally swung that like it was the last flag on the Independence Day, and oh my gosh, it flew, it hit it didn't hit the TV, it just hit the wall, and it made like a sound. I remember lashing out at this person. Nothing happened to it. Everything was fine. They were quite durable, to
Yeah,
be honest with you. Those little
Nintendo used to
controllers.
make their stuff pretty durable until
Yeah.
Switch controllers apparently.
Yeah.
But I remember bringing it over to a family gathering, and we were doing the bowling thing, and one of my cousins let go of the remote, and it flew like right above the TV and like back into the bookshelf. And yeah, the Wiimote was
Okay.
perfectly fine. So nothing broke, but that's what I also remember hearing a lot during back when the Wii's launches about people flinging their remotes directly into the TV.
Oh yeah, that was all the news outlets were talking about that. Yeah, strap in, but you safety first, just like you do when you get in a car. Seatbelt first.
All right. What's your next story?
Yeah, I think the last story that I got, because I feel like those are all the consoles that I got at launch, and I did mention it. I kind of gave a little bit of foreshadowing to it. The PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
I did get that launch day. That is in my memory for sure. I remember because I was freezing. I was in Canada. It was like minus 20 degree weather, minus 20 degrees Celsius weather, by the way, not whatever other people use. What do they use down in the States? I don't remember.
Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit, thank you. Weird measurement. Using that freezing to get this console, and the lineup was crazy. to actually get it's even though at that point again we still had the pre-orders. If you didn't get pre-order, I don't know what you were doing in line because you were not gonna get a console. Um, it was I was freezing, but I was super excited. It was midnight. I remember I had a lab the next day for one of my classes. It was in university. I was in university, by the way, and I went to sleep because I was super tired from all the work that I did at university. I went to sleep from 9 to 11:20 just to give me enough time to get into the line and everything. And I was one of the last ones, surprisingly enough. And they only allowed like 3 people at a time to get their console. And I was very jealous in line as they went in and came out of the console. Even though I was gonna get one like 10 minutes later, I was still like, okay, this is excitement. I'm gonna get my console. I went in, and obviously when you go in, they try to basically sell you on everything that you can imagine, like peripherals and you're gonna need this like little stand, to make sure that it doesn't like ventilate. Like the console is brand new, like calm down. But the games themselves, I remember I was super excited about the console itself, but the games, I think the excitement was it was a matter of hype, and the games themselves weren't that big of a deal. I remember I had FIFA 14, Killzone Shadowfall. I never liked I didn't like the other Killzones like 1, 2, or 3. I just got Shadowfall because that's the only PlayStation title that I was like, okay, this may take full advantage of this console. And yeah, those were the two. And it came out with another one called Resogun. I think that one's built in. I came home, I plugged it in, it made the beautiful sound, I set it up, I was super excited, I went into Shadowfall, it looked super pretty, I looked around, and then I passed out. That's what I remember from my PS4 because I was super tired. The next day though, I woke up and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try this out. I play a little bit more Shadowfall, it didn't grab me, play a little bit of FIFA, my friends didn't have FIFA yet, so it didn't necessarily... So I couldn't play what was most exciting to me about FIFA, which is playing with other people.
Not really selling me on this launch so far, Melvin. I'm gonna be honest.
No. But Resogun.
Yeah.
The silent savior of everything. This game is not like it showcased the power of the PS4 at the time, but it was super pretty. It was fun. I think it's one of my first kind of bullet hell games. If you haven't played it, it's essentially you are in a gun just like Geometry Wars, where it's like a small planet and you can travel around it, like orbit around it, I guess, and with different ships. They all have like different capabilities, and there's a bunch of like blocks shot at you, and you have to rescue this little like green people around the world that they show up. But the music, the visuals themselves with all the blocks, I remember you can show all the voxels that you can have now with the power of PlayStation 4. That was their marketing speak. But the game itself was a lot of fun. Collecting I remember the trophies for that game. At that point, I was a trophy collector, a platinum collector. Every single trophy was fun to get. And all the levels were challenging enough that I was like, okay, I really want to get to the next level. And that game really resonated with me for the longest time, and it got me until Infamous Second Son came out, and that's the game that I was like, okay, this is why I bought a PS4 right here. Yeah. It was the other two titles. Honestly, Shadowfall I tried it again a few times. I really did try, but it just didn't. It looked pretty, but it just didn't grab me. And then FIFA, my friends eventually ended up getting it, but they end up getting FIFA 15. So
that's the risk you run with annual franchises.
Yeah. So in looking back, it's like that's the time that's the point that I say, if I'm gonna get this at launch, I need to make sure that the games that I'm actually getting are worth it. Because if Resogun wasn't there, I literally spent a ton of money to get a day one PS4 with all these games that I wasn't gonna play. And obviously, if you get a day one PS4 or Xbox or whatever, you run the risk that they're gonna come up with the next better version or a slim version or something that just
like
looks a bit better.
And it gets a giant price cut after 6 months or however long it took.
exactly. And looking back, it's like if I didn't have Resogun and Infamous, I would say like, oh, I kind of lost the launch itself wouldn't be the greatest. One thing that is worth noting is when I grabbed the PS4 controller and it had that little touchpad. I didn't even think that I really thought that the touchpads was gonna be like the greatest thing out there when I first saw all the games kind of using it in different ways. It ended up being just a giant button in the middle.
It's
nobody else used it.
Kind of the same as like again, harping on the 3DS, or I guess the Wii U would work here as well. The 3DS's 3D initially had like games specifically trying to tailor their graphics to it, and then that fell off hard. The Wii U initially had a few things trying to use the gamepad in clever ways, and then past that, it's always just like a map or something really basic.
And that hurts the backwards compatibility.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For the 3DS specifically, given that some games require you to have visibility in the two screens.
Yeah, because also that goes for like both the DS and the 3DS are like hard to port now because of the multi-screen setup. And I think with the Wii U, they sort of had something where they had like a bunch of different options for how you could display the two screens. And I think it worked pretty well. I never actually played any DS games on Wii U, but they figured something out at least. But stuff that specifically required like a Wii U tablet is going to be hard to ever port to another console.
Yeah, but that's okay. They're just for the Wii U, there's no problem. They just remaster quote unquote and just release them on the Switch.
Yeah, and I guess that kind of goes to show like how little the tablet mattered for most of them.
Yep. So yeah, I think that's the last console that I got at launch. Matt, did you get the Switch? I think you did, right?
I did get the Switch at launch, but I felt like there wasn't much to talk about. The Switch launch was the Breath of the Wild launch. And
essentially,
I mean, it was very enjoyable, but I don't know. There's not much to say about it. I guess my brief story is I do remember it was like only a day or so after I'd gotten my Switch delivered finally, and I remember having to work like until 9 at my job because to get this like release out. And because of that, they gave us the next day off, which was perfect for me. So I got like a full day in the middle of the week to play Breath of the Wild. So yeah, fun times.
That's how you got away from me. Because when Breath of the Wild came out, you and Mr. Popcorn with the Spoon Braden decided to you both got it on the Switch. I got it on the Wii U. I was one of the few people.
We would all get in a Discord call and just kind of go through it together. Not like going to the same places, but just kind of commenting on stuff we were finding and offering advice and stuff. That's a really good memory.
Oh, it was super fun. What a great game to even do that for, right? Because it's all explorability and stuff. And I remember you saying, look, I encountered this. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember looking at that when I was over there, but I couldn't figure it out. And going back and forth with it. Oh, what a great experience. Yeah. That I didn't get again. And for me, that experience of being able to actually even share that, I didn't get the optimal experience to like play it on the Switch.
Right.
But I still was able to enjoy it. And that's one of the reasons why that and financial reasons. The consoles are expensive. But being able to say, I can still play some of these games on the previous generation just for a little bit until like the next generation kind of kicks off and I can actually jump into it. That's one of the reasons why I'm not getting a PS5 or an Xbox Series X or /S at launch. One of the things that was going to push me over is like I can only play Miles Morales in there, but given that I can actually play that on PS4 and even the Sackboy's Adventures, Sackboy Big Adventure, which is the one that I want to play with these funny games, that's on PS4 as well. So I'm like, okay, I can wait. I'm gonna try to hold up. This one was particularly hard given the launch titles, because this actually had good launch titles, in my opinion, or on my eyes, for both consoles. What I mean, I'm not talking about console specific or console exclusive titles, because if you think about that, the Xbox Series X doesn't have any. But like it does have, it will come out with like Cyberpunk 2077, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You have the Miles Morales. You got the big Sackboy's Big Adventure, Demon Souls, all these games. If I didn't play Demon Souls when it came out on the PS3, I probably would have made the jump too. I'm excited to give it a shot once I actually go and get myself a PS5 in the future.
Okay.
Matt, did you say that you were gonna look to get one of the two eventually?
Yeah, I'm definitely leaning PS5, but not at launch.
Not at launch. Yeah. You're gonna have a ton of games given that you didn't play on PS4. Ooh. Oh boy. Nice. Excited for you. Yeah, I think that's everything that we got for you this week. Other than, do you have any extra things to add to the console launch talk?
Nope, that's it for me.
All right. Thanks everybody who joined us today. Again, we are your daily, not daily, sorry. That's the daily sign-in, which we also have on this channel if you want to check it out. This is Chat and Games, your weekly gaming show. If you want to tell us about your favorite console launches that maybe are non-Nintendo related, given that that's basically mostly what we talked about. I want to hear about the 360 era particularly. I think that was a great time to own that console and talk about the other generations that I also miss. That would be great to talk about. You can do so by writing on the comments below if you're watching this on YouTube, or by writing in at itsallfunandgamestv@gmail.com. If you want a more immediate and timely conversation, you can join us on the Discord for sure. And everything that I'm talking about is on the description below. Aside from that, again, check us out. Daily Sign-In is where I do my daily monologue and talk about all the daily gaming news. So if you want to check that out, always in the same on the YouTube. But if you want to search this, if you want this as a podcast version, again, you just got to type in Daily Sign-In, as it's a different RSS feed that gets feed into your veins. All right. Thanks, everybody. Matt, do you have anything else to say?
Bye.
And with that, this is Chat and Games signing off.